FBI was using human intelligence to spy on a presidential campaign.
BuzzFeed reported that most of the people involved in that famous plot right before the election to kidnap the governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, were in fact working for the FBI.
The government entrapped the four men, first by orchestrating the plot, then coercing them to join in.
The whistleblower says the FBI directed agents to use counterterrorism measures to track parents critical of their school boards. Sources tell ABC News that Mar-a-Lago was raided by FBI agents.
So what you just saw was an ad put out by Marjorie Taylor Greene calling for defunding the FBI, rolling out a whole new set of merch about it.
The FBI cannot carry out its vital mission of protecting the American people without trust.
And this is what I think is so absolutely hilarious. Republicans are pretending that the FBI is biased against them. And here's the thing, I agree, the FBI is biased, but to think that it's biased against the right wing is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, seriously, on its face, it's a purely ridiculous claim. If anything, the FBI has been going way too soft on these right-wingers, especially the people that were involved in January 6th. But if Marjorie Taylor Greene really does want to defund the FBI, newsflash, she actually doesn't, then I think maybe we lean into that. Okay, Marjorie Taylor Greene, let's do it. Let's defund the FBI. Because realistically, the original purpose of the FBI was to sever the link between labor unions and organized crime. I know this is a very long time ago, but once upon a time in the United States, it turns out that the mob had some relationships with a bunch of different labor unions, and maybe they worked together to bully employers into creating better working conditions for working class people. But then slightly after that, you have the civil rights era, and then you have the FBI going out of its way to specifically target members and leaders of the civil rights movement. Infamously, the FBI had actually wiretapped Martin Luther King. They even tried to coerce Martin Luther King into committing suicide. Then of course you have the FBI's role in the war on drugs, which was explicitly aimed at Black Americans and the anti-war left. And the long history of the FBI going out of its way to infiltrate and spy on and arrest members of any type of communist group, socialist group, civil rights group, black liberation group, you name it. Famously, the FBI went out of its way to kill and arrest members of the Black Panthers, some of whom are still in prison to this very day. And by some international definitions, people who are in prison for non-violent drug offenses for extremely long periods of time due to the drug war being targeted at Black Americans and the anti-war left actually would qualify as political prisoners. And if we go by that definition, then that would mean that the United States has more political prisoners than any other country in the world. And a huge part of that would be the FBI. But then of course, this isn't something that ended in history. This is something that goes on to this very day. Because despite the fact that Proud Boys run around and regularly harass and beat up people, especially homeless people, it turns out that Proud Boys tend to target the most vulnerable. Despite these white supremacist groups running around, many of which who have infiltrated local police departments, there's still people at the FBI that equate Black identity extremism to these white supremacists who are actually committing acts of violence. That is what is so infuriating, because the truth is the FBI is deeply biased. The FBI does have a political purpose, except for the political purpose of the FBI is fundamentally one that is organized around anti-communism and all of its related endeavors. So it is a rare instance that the FBI actually targets somebody who is bad, but the reality is that the FBI's core institutional purpose is one that is fundamentally right-wing, and they have consistently been biased against the left since their inception. I mean, seriously, do we really need to go in the history of J. Edgar Hoover and how homophobic and racist and just bigoted all around he was? And of course, yes, an obvious extreme right-wing anti-communist. So yeah, this merch is obviously clownish, and obviously Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't want to defund the FBI. We all should recognize and understand that. Right-wingers are not against the police, they're not against the FBI. What they are against is the equal treatment under the law, which isn't even where we are now. They believe that the FBI should continue to serve a role of exclusively targeting marginalized people and targeting people who oppose capitalism. And they believe that the FBI should not do anything to bring any consequences to any right-winger that commits any acts of violence or, plays a role in an insurrection, or even investigates those things, because I hate to break it to you, that is part of what a warrant is. So to be clear, don't get it twisted. These right-wingers are not against the FBI. They just want the FBI to continue to be used as a bludgeon against the left. They want to criminalize the existence of black folks and other marginalized people, and they want a weapon of the state that they can target towards anybody that opposes capitalism. They want the FBI to infiltrate socialist groups, unions, and other various organizations and institutions that are designed to benefit the marginalized. And they don't want the FBI to do anything about rich and powerful people abusing their power, or right-wingers who organize and terrorize their communities.